after gaining a lot of funding out of the cults and powerful organizations, after also gaining activists to working for your powerful organizations, you can start to move forward with your control operations after pursuing people to accept them. And 5. The approval of the people. A. After getting many people to start accepting, fighting for false programs. Persuade people to follow your controversial programs. B. Start slowly bringing in small stuff such as spying programs to protect humanity. Start deploying cameras and security cameras all over the place for our own security. Start requiring more identification and papers for innocent people that are not criminals, also for security and helping to stop criminal conduct. Start allowing authorities to start urine collecting and testing, blood testing and collecting, and high-ups to start committing drug tests, and also declare it for stopping illegal drugs and for security. Then keep going further and further into more Big Brother and controlled societies like a Orwellian society, and allow people to not only get used to these things but accepting it as well. That's not a big deal unless you've done something illegal, which brings us more into a undemocratic society and more of a possibly a dictatorship and fascist government. And C. After your cult campaigns get big and huge, have your taking over and controlled president encourage these fascist acts. And then if the president is well approved and well followed, he or she can bring us into a more complete dictatorship and fascist system. D. Bring in more programs to encourage socialism or anti-democratic and monopoly-controlled operations and persuade many people to follow the system. D. Complete and close in the operations under complete control. Now to talk about and explain about the first of the blueprint, political takeovers of federal, state, and local governments. I'd like to show you an example of how these secret organizations can gain control of the whole set of the entire government. The animation you have seen is a demonstration of a takeover of our political system. That means they keep sneaking in these puppets, these so-called political puppets of these so-called secret groups. Whether they be Bilderbergs, Rothschilds, or whatever. It's all the same. They keep taking over more and more positions until they get absolute control or control of the majority, because just because they're going to take over, it doesn't mean that every congressman and every senator and every presidential aide or people working in the White House is a part of all this. Like people like Ron Paul that aren't a part of this. They're not a part of the Bilderbergs. There is actually a very few that actually cares about our country, even though they're trying to take over a majority of the elite of our politicians.
Jobs, homes, pensions. Our government is prepared to give another $1 trillion to the banks, ready to compound the moral hazard by nationalizing banks, which are allegedly profit-making entities. This is anti-democratic. Instead of nationalizing banks, we should nationalize the money system by placing the Federal Reserve under the U.S. Treasury and the fractional reserve, and stop banks from lending credit into circulation. Then, instead of borrowing money from the banks and creating debt, government can spend the money into circulation to rebuild and restore America with money for jobs, housing, health care, and education. I'll soon be introducing legislation to accomplish this. Banking is not a proper function of the government, but oversight is. The Treasury Department should not be outsourcing to the Fed its oversight responsibilities. The Fed, which failed miserably to oversee banks, should be put under Treasury instead. It's time for our government to operate in the public interest, not in the interest of private banks. It's time for us to stop bailing out banks and begin building up America.
Time of the gentleman has expired. Gentleman from South Carolina.
Now for the second one, resources. Some of the best examples of this takeover is Costco, Walmart, buying from countries that have sweatshops, and buying from countries like China. Some other examples are the oil companies, and by gaining more control, they can start raising gas prices up from anywhere from $3 or $4 a gallon, or to heck. It also led to prices of natural gas going up. And some other of these tactics are stuff like cheese going up, eggs going up, milk going up. It is the whole thing of corporations and corporate farming taking over the resource industries. So once all of the resource companies are now owned by corporations, then that is when they're going to start gaining control of that. Because a lot of the corporations, or almost all of them, or maybe even all of them, are under control by these secret organizations or secret societies.
Warning! 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 Our country has been taken over by secret societies, secret organizations. Warning! 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 I might not know how long I'll stand, but I'm going to keep trying to tell the truth, because the truth is a revolutionary act. I think that was George Orwell saying that. Anyways, we gotta be careful. The secret organizations, secret societies have taken over the Capitol. They took it over completely, almost completely. There's still good people like Ron Paul and one guy